welcome to another superb weekend of the BRSCC MX-5 Championship. We're about to go out for race 1B here at Silverstone, where we're doing rounds 13, 14 and 15. We see Matt Pollard on pole position.
Absolutely. Matt Pollard, pole position, did an average speed around this 1.64 mile circuit of just over 80 miles per hour. Can he keep that speed up during the race? Who knows? The clouds are coming in. There could be rain. It's going to be exciting to watch. It's over to Jake Sanson.
Thanks, Lyndsay and Lloyd. This one could get interesting. That rain is looking ominous. Matthew Pollard and Richard Wootton on the front row from John Pethick and Scott Leach. Greatrex and Chisnell on the third row from Muggleston and Bryn Griffiths. On row 5 it is Charlie Rawls and Jack Moody. Tim Hutchinson and Bill Taylor come next. Then it's Russ Lyndsay and Anthony Hutchins. Graham Rumsey and Bruce Carter. Jake Stiles in 17th on the grid alongside Alan Hawkins. Oliver Graham and Dale Whiteman from Luke Souch and Orlando Lyndsay. Bruce Robinson lines up beside the new boy Chi Mung. And then we have Richard Bartlett, Chris Ginn, James Love, Chris Wilson and David Rickards. And looking at the way that weather system is blowing in over the Silverstone National circuit, I think there's going to be rain sooner rather than later, and that could make things very tricky around this fast sweeping circuit. It's a mini Monza, this Silverstone National circuit. Let's see how they cope with the changeable conditions. Clive Chisnell we're on board with at the start. No rain at the moment, although there have been a couple of spots by the look of it, and we're underway here at Silverstone. Now Chisnell will want to get a good start from the third row. Callum Greatrex to our left, going to go into Copse Corner, slightly in front of our opponent as we go through turn 1. No problems at all off the start. It looks like everybody's through neat and tidy. That is Bryn Griffiths going door to door with Charlie Rawls. They were about close to each other off the start line as they go down towards Maggots at the start of the first lap. Tiptoeing his way through, that is Richard Wootton through into the lead on Matt Pollard at the start. So as they go through Beckett's for the first time, a little bit slippery, but everybody through okay. On board with Robinson, up the inside there, making the move on the 291 of Luke Souch as he gets through on the exit of Beckett's. Now we're powering down the straight. Up through the gears. Just a quick flick over the shoulder to have a look in the rearview mirror, just to see how things are going down into the braking zone. Pollard's about to lose second and third. In fact, up the inside, that's John Pethick, who's got through already. And I think that is Callum Greatrex through into third position as they tiptoe their way as carefully as they can through Brooklands without scrubbing off too much speed. So they've got to be careful on the way through Luffield as well. The whole field getting through neat and tidy. Greatrex through in a third position. Not a bad start. Wootton in the lead. Pethick second. And then Greatrex in third in front of Pollard and the 96 of Charles Muggleston. Good start from Muggleston up into 5th position there in front of, I think that is still the 13 of Scott Leach. We're on board with Clive Chisnell. He's going to dive up the inside here, making the move up past the 45 of fast starting Graham Rumsey. Is Chisnell going to get through? Not at the moment. Is side by side as they drop down towards Maggots and Beckett's. Look at the windscreen. You can see that the rain has started, and it started in earnest. It's very heavy already, so it has suddenly occurred on the second lap. As diving up the inside of us is Jake Stiles, who is already on the charge. He's made up a lot of places on this first couple of laps. There was yellow flags temporarily at Copse. Didn't see what that was for, but Greatrex just about holding on the inside of Charlie Rawls as they go through Copse Corner, and the rain's got heavier again, as you can see on the camera. Spots of rain falling on the lens, and that is Greatrex running wide out of Copse Corner, so this is a chance for Rawls to get through. Charlie Rawls will make his bid. Pethick just taking it easy, lapping the 46 there of David Rickards, I think for the second time, as Greatrex tries to hang on in there from Charlie Rawls. Rawls diving up the inside. Is there enough power off the turn? Yes, there is. They're going to go side by side down the Wellington Straight. And it's all going to be about who's got the bravest braking point and who's got the strongest racing line through Brooklands. And don't forget that the normal racing line is not the line you take in the wet conditions at this particular point, because there's so much surface rubber left from tyres on the concrete that the water will actually let you wash it out, and it gets very greasy. So Greatrex on the conventional line, Rawls going slightly deeper, and Greatrex able to get the car stopped in time, but that was very touch and go through the braking point. Now Rawls has got Greatrex lined up. They go past Rickards. Oh, it's a loss. Rawls has lost it. Rawls has lost it right in front of Muggleston, and they do touch, and that is Rawls' race over. Bent suspension. Charlie Rawls is out of the race as they go into the last lap. That is devastating for Charlie Rawls. Oh, a third position guaranteed, and now he's going to go down to the back of the B grid. Wow, that's such a shame. There was not a lot Muggleston could do to get out of the way. Now, is Muggleston going to have enough damage sustained. Is he going to have any damage enough sustained to get him to the end of the race? This man, however, John Pethick, is going to be the race winner out in front of Callum Greatrex. It's going to be touch and go as to whether Muggleston can get to third place. But Charlie Rawls, devastating bad luck, lost the car out of left field and just got tagged by Muggleston enough on the front end of the car that is going to be game over. Down the Wellington straight one more time into the braking zone. And in the final lap, this is going to be John Pethick, a brilliant victory, his first of the season in the wet here at the Silverstone National Circuit. He tiptoes his way through Brooklands, back into the braking zone for Luffield, drifts the car nicely in, is not too hard on the brakes either. He's been very smooth all the way through in very tricky conditions, and now he'll get his just reward. He'll end up in the A group for the second race of the weekend. Down the straight, through Woodcote, a brilliant victory for John Pethick, and that is a beautiful performance here at Silverstone. Over the line, and the job is done. He is absolutely elated, and I think well and truly relieved in the tricky conditions here at Silverstone. A second place for Callum Greatrex in very difficult circumstances, and Jake Stiles powers his way through to third, with Muggleston indeed out of the race with damage. Griffiths in fourth from Jack Moody and Bill Taylor. Matthew Pollard recovers to seventh in front of Graham Wotton and Hawkins. Hutchins, Chisnell and Timothy Hutchinson from Carter and Lyndsay. Whiteman, Souch, Bartlett, Jin and Chi Mung on his debut in the top 20. Fastest lap of the race, Richard Wotton, when he wasn't facing the wrong way, but Muggleston and Rawls join Lyndsay and Leach on the sidelines.
John, congratulations on your first win. You must feel really elated at the moment.
Yeah, really good, yeah. Didn't expect to do that today, honestly. Car's much quicker than it was last year after doing some stuff on the engine. And yeah, really chuffed, really happy, yeah.
Firstly, congratulations, Callum. It seemed to get a bit dicey out there with the rain coming.
Yeah, it was quite scary, to be honest. The conditions were just so, you just didn't know what was going to happen, and back end of the car was all over the place, but you just had to keep it as clean as possible. Real clean race though.
Jake, congratulations on third place. Another podium for you, but mixed conditions out there.
Yeah, wow, it was a crazy race really. It was dry and that was good, so it was nice and quick, and then all of a sudden the rain just came straight down, just took some people off as well, and then it dried up again, so we're back to racing line, dry racing line, all the rest of it, and then rain came back down again.
The cars are lining up, ready to go out for the 2B race in the BRSCC Mazda MX-5 Championship. Paul Tucker starts on pole position, but as you can see, it is pouring down with rain here at Silverstone. It's going to make the race really exciting and interesting. To take you through it, it's over to Jake Sanson.
Well, race one had its slips and slides. This is going to be very interesting with a lot more rain on the circuit for the start of this one. Paul Tucker and Adrian Burge on the front row from Hector Hurst and Nick Ledoyen. Adam Craig and Bill Taylor on row 3 from Matt Pollard, the previous pole sitter, of course, alongside Oliver Graham. Richard Wotton and Alan Hawkins on row 5. Anthony Hutchins and Clive Chisnell. Then Tim Hutchinson and Bruce Carter from Russ Lyndsay and Dale Whiteman. Luke Souch is alongside Richard Bartlett. And then we have Christopher Jin in there with Chi Mung, the new boy, Graham Rumsey and Bruce Robinson from James Love and Chris Wilson. And then we have David Rickards, Charles Muggleston, Charlie Rawls, Orlando Lyndsay and Scott Leach, the latter four all having retired from the first race. They've now got to charge their way through from the back if they're going to have anything to say positive about this weekend. The green flag goes at the back of the grid. Everybody's got their windscreen wipers on. It's going to be rain like this all day long by the look of it in the weather forecast. Lights are on. They extinguish. Let's race at Silverstone. It's a cracking getaway from Adrian Burge off the front of the grid. He's going to get the best of getaways. Paul Tucker in there in second position, still with a little bit of battle scars from his previous encounter, but he dives for the inside at Copse, and he's not going to run as wide as Adrian Burge has done through that first part of the course. So let's see if everybody gets through. Absolutely massive spray as they go up. This is an absolute nightmare compared to what we saw in race 1 yesterday. How can they all see where they're going? These guys, absolute masters of their craft as they break down for Maggots and Beckett's. They'll have to be very careful as they get through, but these guys are very sensible. There are no mentalists in this field, as Wotton going around the outside there of Hector Hurst as they nip their way through Maggots and Beckett's, and there's no dramas yet. We're on board with Adrian Burge, and we can't see a thing off the rear-facing camera, never mind the front-facing camera. Down into the braking zone for Brooklands. That's how wet it is. You're not going to get a better indication of it than that, as that up the inside is going to be Nick Ledoyen. Burge is going to run very, very wide through Brooklands. Multiple choices of racing line in these sorts of conditions, of course. But Nick Ledoyen in the MCR run machine is going to knit his way through Luffield and hopefully get good acceleration off the turn and get up the inside of Burge, but he's not going to just yet. Look how tricky the conditions are now. Everybody, of course, now set up for a wet race. They knew it this morning at 5 a.m. when the rain started in earnest, and the back of my car this evening, it was very, very loud drumming rain on the roof. It woke me up at about 5:30 this morning, but hey, it's motor racing. You do what you do. So through they come into the first turn, and that is Richard Wootton battling away with the original pole sitter for this weekend in Group B, Matt Pollard, who dropped away further down the order in his spin in the first race yesterday. Now, there is a possibility, I think, of a safety car coming out. Certainly the lights are flashing on the recovery car. I haven't seen anybody off the road yet, but they're obviously going to be on standby in these conditions because you never quite know what's going to happen, and they're going to need to act quickly. Fortunately, the BRSCC officials have been very quick to respond through all of the races, not just the Mazda MX-5 Championship races this weekend, so it's always been very positive. That's Tucker in the lead, second is Burge, third is the Doyen, fourth place is Adam Craig. So they're still all just about there or thereabouts. That's Hector Hurst braking for the corner as Wootton and Hawkins go side by side. Barely possible to make out who it is that's fighting for position in these conditions. It's incredibly difficult to see what's going on. So the drivers just knitting their way through Luffield. I couldn't quite make out who that was, just to prove the point, unfortunately, as there is Pollard battling away with Hector Hurst right behind him. So Hector Hurst making his debut in the Mazda MX-5 Championship this weekend. That's Richard Wootton trying to knit his way through, as the rain on the camera lens is getting unbearable now for the poor cameramen down there. They're working so hard to keep on top of things. There is Paul Tucker coming out of the final turn. He is running beautifully out front. That appears to be one of the Grey Trexes in behind him, although it's a very similar coloured car to the Grey Trexes. It's not one of them because both of them are in the A group. Last lap, Paul Tucker running well out in front as he continues his way. He's not really put a wheel wrong in this race. He's not really skipped a beat. The 22 has just been in control since the start and utilising the wet conditions in his favour. He's just been looking after things very steadily. So Paul Tucker is looking good out in front. Now who's that? He's coming up to lap. That is Richard Bartlett, the 78, but he's just about going to lap him before the end of the race. I'm not sure he's going to get anybody else, but that's not his focus at the moment. All he's interested in is bringing that car home on the island. It's very tricky. You can see how much spray is still coming off the car. Look at that. You can't really see down the Wellington Straight at all. Fair credit to the drivers who are working so hard in these conditions, but it's going to be Paul Tucker. He knits up the inside of Richard Bartlett. No need to make any silly risks. He knits his way through Brooklands. There's still so much standing water around the circuit. Massive credit to the BRSCC officials as well. They could easily have thrown a safety car out for this one, but it proved that although there's been a couple of moments in this race, we didn't actually need one. We got proper racing out of it. So brilliant stuff as Paul Tucker comes out of the very wet Woodcote corner, down the straight and over the line, and it is a victory for Paul Tucker. He'll be delighted with that and very relieved that the race is over as well. Adam Craig will splash his way through for second position, and in third place is going to be, look back, Hector Hurst. Hector Hurst on his debut in the championship picks up a B group podium, and he will go back into the A group. He'll be very happy with that. Matt Pollard across the line in fourth position after a tricky race. Mugglestone in fifth from Scott Leach, Oliver Graham, Richard Wootton, Adrian Burge frustrated but ninth, and Bill Taylor in 10th. Fastest lap of the race, Scott Leach from 29th to 6th. Nick Ledoyen in front of Anthony Hutchins from Tim Hutchinson, Chisnell, Rawls, Souch, Carter, Rumsey, Bruce Robinson and Chris Ginn. And then our final stragglers across the line, Dale Whiteman, Lyndsay, Wilson, Love, Bartlett and Rickards. Alan Hawkins, Chi Mung and Russ Lyndsay are going to have to clear out some gravel from their car. What a day.
Very deserving first place there for you. You started pole, finished pole. Happy?
Very, very happy. Couldn't believe it. Had a bad start, but I managed to get it back by the first corner. And I've just got to say a big thank you to Tucker Motorsport. Yeah, on Friday I had a massive smash. Did not think I was even coming out at all on Friday. That was it. I was ready to put the car away. The mechanics worked like mad. Done a fantastic job, and here I am. I'm back out. The car's great. Thank you very much to my mechanics. Thank you, Tucker Motorsport.
Adam, congratulations on your second place. Wet conditions, absolutely atrocious out there. How is it from a driver's point of view?
Well, the first 2 laps were an absolute nightmare. We started 5th after a few issues yesterday, and I couldn't see a single car in front of me for the first 2 laps. And by the time I managed to get through them, Tucker was just that bit too far ahead, and the rest of the race was all about just trying to claw him in without sort of chucking it off the road.
Hector, well done on that. Bit tricky out there being wet. Any corners that caught you out?
No, to be honest, it was all pretty consistent. It was just trying to see where you're going was tough, especially when you're behind someone. And first time racing with a windscreen, so good job we had the wipers. But yeah, no, it was good fun, and got a bit of confidence now for the next race.
We're in the holding area for race 3B at Silverstone, and yes, the conditions are still damp. It's going to make the racing very exciting. Oliver Robinson is on pole position, and Lyndsay has caught up with Charlie Rawls, who has battled a little bit of adversity this weekend and is making his way back up through the grid.
Thanks, Lloyd. Yeah, I'm currently here with Charlie in the assembly area for race 3. He barely made it out for race 2. He had to eventually end up starting from the pits after most of the paddock came together to try and get his engine started and going back out. So we're going to wish him the best of luck, and we're going to hand it over to Jake to run us through the rest of the grid.
Thank you, Lloyd and Lyndsay. Not as much standing water as there was earlier in the day, but it's still going to be very, very tricky, and it's going to be that fine line between wet and dry that racing drivers really struggle with. Oliver Robinson and Jack Moody on the front row of the grid from Jake Stiles and Ivan Leary. Bryn Griffiths and Scott Leach with Oliver Graham and Richard Wooten on the 4th row. Adrian Burge and Bill Taylor together on row 5, and then it's Nick Ledoyen in there with Anthony Hutchins. Tim Hutchinson and Clive Chisnell on row 7 from Charlie Rawls and Luke Souch. Bruce Carter and Graham Rumsey on the 9th row from Bruce Robinson and Christopher Ginn. Then it's Dale Whiteman and Orlando Lindsay from Chris Wilson and James Love. Richard Bartlett will line up beside David Rickards on the 13th row, and then we'll have the drivers who ended up off the circuit in the wet race earlier. Alan Hawkins, Chi Mung and Russ Lindsay. 29 cars bounding around the circuit for the 15th race of the season in Group B. Green flag flies at the back of the circuit, the 5-second board goes up, and it's time to go racing. Slipping and sliding with a few windscreen wipers still going as there is a lot of rain still in the air. Lights on, and out they go. Let's race at Silverstone for the final time in Group B. Robinson and Moody getting a reasonably good getaway as they charge their way forward for Copse, and it's no problem at all for Robinson to lead through turn 1. Jake Stiles coming around the outside of Ivan Leary to hang on to 3rd position as the field knits its way through. No carnage on the first turn here at Silverstone this weekend, which has been really good to see. And actually, on the first lap of the races, we've actually seen no major melodramas down at Maggots or Beckett's yet. Have I spoken too soon? Yes, I have! That was Leary coming together with Stiles, and somehow they averted chaos. That is absolutely amazing, the two of them. Leary and Stiles coming together. Oh, whoops! Big bow wave there from, I think that was either Leach or that's got to be Oliver Graham, who just managed to kick up a massive bow wave. That might have been Bryn Griffiths, actually. He's right on board with Adrian Burge, going to the right side of Jack Moody. Down to the braking zone for Brooklands. Who's going to get this braking point right? Down into the left. Griffiths tucking in there behind Burge and in front of Bill Taylor. No major problems there as up the inside comes Richard Wooten, the 3. A nice twitch from him, but he gets the car stopped. Oh, we've gone the other side of Jack Moody to go round the outside of Luffield. So a nice move there from Burge. He's gone through. Good bit of driving there from Adrian Burge in the 7 as he tucks in behind Graham. And then it is Scott Leach in the 13 behind. Now Leach made up a massive amount of progress in race 2. Could he get to the front in race 3? He's certainly close enough. They come down the main straight once again. And back into the braking zone for Copse Corner. Leary in 3rd position behind Jake Stiles as they battle through Bryn Griffiths and Jack Moody, and that's a spin from Bill Taylor in the middle of Copse. Is anybody going to go with him? Taylor, keep Bill, keep it out of the gravel. He has done. That was very nicely done from Bill Taylor, because he knew that if that car went into the gravel, that would have been game over. He somehow kept the car out of the gravel trap. That was very well defended there, as Leary is now battling away with Scott Leach. Jack Moody has dropped back a long way from that front row of the grid start. So Moody is now down into, what is that, a good 5th or 6th position at best, I think. We've got Clive Chisnell in front of us. That is the 26 of Charlie Rawls. Now, how far has he come up the grid? He's already started to make up progress, but here comes Chisnell. in the wheel tracks of the 28, I think that is, of Timothy Hutchinson. He dives up the inside. This is the conventional overtaking move. In the wet, can he finish the job? The answer appears to be yes. No problem at all there. So into the last lap goes Scott Leach. We are going to have just one more lap of it. I wasn't sure in terms of the timing how much was left, but Scott Leach is going to run to the victory if he just keeps it together on this, the final lap. He uses plenty of curb on the exit of Copse. He doesn't spin the car as others have on the same occurrence. But Scott Leach is leading the way very, very smartly here in front of Oliver Graham, Oliver Robinson and Jake Stiles. And it's going to be a nice run to the... Oh, hang on a minute. Where's Oliver Robinson and Jake Stiles? They have drifted a little way off the back of Oliver Graham and they are duelling for third place. So those two are still going to be racing to the line. They just saw them go out of your shot. They are still going to be battling away for that final place on the podium. But through the rain, through the flotsam and jetsam around the circuit, dodging hares and all sorts, has been a fantastic drive for Scott Leach. Let's not forget, in race 2, he charged from 29th and last on the grid to finish P6. And that has set him up for a terrific run in the third. He's going to finish on a high, exactly how he would have wanted to. It is going to be a victorious run to the line for Scott Leach here at Silverstone in the drizzly wet conditions. A brilliant race in the B group, and Scott Leach wins at Silverstone, the third and final B group race of the weekend. Terrific job from Scott. He is very jubilant indeed and deserves to be, from the Olivers in second and third. Graham in front of Robinson. Jake Stiles comes home in fourth position. A brilliant victory for Leach in front of Graham, Robinson and Stiles. Richard Wootton comes home fifth in front of Adrian Burge. Bryn Griffiths in seventh ahead of Clive Chisnell, battling with Jack Moody. And Timothy Hutchinson in 10th position. Outside the top 10, it's Leary from Hawkins and Rawls, Nicola Doyen and Anthony Hutchins from Bill Taylor and Bruce Carter, Chi Mong and Graham Rumsey ahead of Orlando Lyndsay. In 21st, Bruce Robinson from Luke Souch, Richard Bartlett, Whiteman, Wilson, Gin and Love, with only Rickards and Lyndsay opting not to start. But everybody who did ended up finishing. Great race for Leach.
Very well done there, Scott. That was one heck of a race.
Thank you very much. That's great.
Yeah. So, how did you find it out there? Is the track drying up a little bit?
Well, me personally, I find it a little bit more slippier than the first one.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Is it just like there's a lot more still water, is there?
I don't really know. I don't think there's so much water there, but the track just seems a little bit more slippier.
Oh, brilliant. Oh, well, congratulations from us here, and we'll let you get on.
That's great. Thank you very much. Cheers.
Oliver, congratulations. Well-deserved second place, but tough fighting out there.
It was an incredibly tough battle. I had a few sketchy moments. I locked up going into the second to last corner, and I thought I'd lost it then, but I sort of managed to pick myself back up a little bit. There was a little bit of contact, but managed to pull through, and yeah, it was a good race.
Oliver, that looked like a tough race out there. How was it on the track?
Well, it was good on the track. Tough race. Started first. Watched a little incident behind me in my mirror. Thought, right, I'm away. Great. Then I just slowly saw Scott and Oliver catching me. I thought, don't make a mistake. So I made a mistake. But hey, you know, enjoyed it thoroughly. Track was good. Bit greasy on Copse, and then Beckett's. If you hit the standing water, you've had it. But apart from that, great race.